It's funny, I've just been wrestling with a problem on a Teams call right here. It's the mute button. And we've all had the problem of figuring out the best moment to click unmute and to get into the conversation. But it's not just about using the technology. It's not just about fumbling your way into the moment where you're free to speak in a digital call like a Teams call or a Zoom call. And as consultants, we all have to wrestle with this a little bit, whether we're virtual or whether we're in person, picking the moment to choose to speak and figuring out what it is that we want to say and how it's going to contribute to the conversation. Now, we know and we love talking about how being able to bring a question to a conversation is probably the ultimate for lots of us as consultants, to be able to bring great questions. But there's going to be a moment when we feel like we need to express a point of view and bring something into the conversation. And I wanted to spend some time thinking about that and the difficulty that it presents us. First of all, we have the difficulty that other people at any moment in a conversation with a team or with the client, we have the difficulty that there's maybe somebody else speaking who seems more fluent or more confident or more in command of the material. But we also have the difficulty that we know something. We've got an idea or a point of view that we want to get across. And how do we choose the moment to jump in, and how do we make sure that it lands? And I think there are some things that get in the way for us. The first thing that gets in our way is a little bit our consulting ego. Like we feel we have to find a moment and that the rest of the team owes it to us to bring us into the conversation. The second thing that gets in the way then is our lack of empathy for everybody else, our tendency that we have to shut other people out when we are focused on making our point. And I think the third thing that gets in our way is our misplaced desire to wrap up a conversation. Like, I want to say the thing now that's going to put a button on the conversation and summarize or even overtop what other people have been saying. And I think all three of those are false. And anytime I've come away from one of those awkward situations where I didn't have the right thing to say or I said it at the wrong moment, I think to myself, first of all, I could probably have done a better job preparing what it was that I wanted to say initially by thinking really hard about who else is in the audience. Who are my teammates? Who are my clients? What are their needs? What kind of problem-solving talents do they have right now, and how am I going to help? The second thing that I think I can have is a bit of awareness, an awareness of my own personality, an awareness of what kind of energy and what kind of status I have in that conversation. And I think the third thing that I can do is think about how expressing my point of view is not going to wrap the conversation up, but is actually going to give it another spin. And all of the times I've felt pleased about speaking up and offering my point of view, I realized that it's because actually that was a stimulus for other things to happen afterwards. So I should set myself free a little bit from the desire to end the conversation, and I should think about how I can open up a new chapter. So expressing my point of view is about not only understanding what I want to say, but being able to couch it and introduce it in a way that shows that it points back to what's happened in the conversation so far. And thirdly, to think of a way of articulating my point of view and then raising another question so that other people are drawn into the conversation. And that's the way that I can position myself as a generous speaker rather than as a selfish speaker. Now, all of this is going to require us, besides being good speakers, to be good listeners, to be good judges of personality and tone, and to have acute awareness of the situation. And those are all things that we can practice. But remember, it's going to be too late if we get to the end of the Zoom call, we get to the end of the Teams call, and we have that feeling sitting with us that we missed our moment, or that we stepped on the moment and we used it wrong. So I'd like you to think hard about calls and meetings that you've been in. What have been the moments when you chose the wrong time to step in? What are the moments when the thing that you tried to say ended up derailing or freezing the conversation? Because if you've had those moments, whether you're a junior consultant or a very, very experienced senior consultant, there are going to be ways that you can improve. We'd love to hear what your experiences have been like. What have been the moments when you came off mute and it didn't work out? Whether you're muted or not, join us in the comments and tell us what you're thinking.